Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about the lockdowns that are starting to come out in California. You've probably been following along in the news. Over 200,000 new coronavirus cases a day for the past 4 days. So that's a big deal. Yes, we have the optimism of the vaccine, which starts tomorrow in the UK. And Bahrain, obviously, is the second country that's had the emergency use authorization. But you have the rise of the vaccine, but you also have that combating with the coronavirus cases that are new, and it's real. Lockdowns are starting to happen more and more, again, primarily in California and the bigger cities, but based on the math behind the hospital vacancy rates and availability and all that. So a lot going on. I would not be surprised if we saw some red in the market today. However, this week, if not just today. However, with that, there are some names we can take a look at. So we're going to look at the lockdown names, the work from home names, and how what they ran up big, obviously earlier in this year, and they've come in, and now they're starting to move back higher. So we can talk about what names you can get behind with your money. All right, if you're listening to us on replay, you can please make sure you subscribe so you can catch us on a daily basis. And if you want to join us live, it's $25 a month or a free trial. So come on in and check us out. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. If you check out the chat room, I've posted the kind of longs and shorts for today that we're going to be taking a look at. Okay, if you're new with us this morning, there's a couple folks checking us out on a trial this week. So we invest in fighter pilot precision every day. I have a standard briefing format, which is what I'm going through right now, which kind of lets you know what we're focusing on for today's topics. But you should have the chat window open. You should have the Q&A window open, and feel free to populate that with stuff, with whether it's related to what we're talking about or not. Right, that's why I'm available for you for about 35 minutes. If you want to ask a question about Tesla, that's fine. Say, hey, what's going on with Tesla stock? So that's what you have available to you. Have that set up somewhere in your displays. If you do look at the chat room, you need to have panelists and attendees selected, so everybody sees you, not just me. But if you look over there, you can see our two longs we're looking at is BCRX and BFT. Today, I'll talk about those on why and here in a little bit. We get closer, and for the short, CAAS and XPEV, which I know you know the XPEV name. For the standard disclaimer, this is a financial education presentation. So the purpose of all of this is to learn primarily about long-term investing, and we're also going to talk a little bit about day trading. And there's, pros and cons. I have more information available on my website, OTOTnow.com, where you can get into, how to day trade and why you shouldn't, that sort of thing. But full disclaimer information, I do not know your own situations. You have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear in this presentation, and full disclaimer information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, let's go ahead and get started with today, December 7th, again, Pearl Harbor Day, 79 years ago. All right, mission objectives: to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking about growing our money, specifically through the lockdown orders that are coming out again in California is kind of the primary area. And they're starting with lockdowns. Once hospitals get within 15% of capacity, that's when you're starting to see these lockdown orders. So I'm not a big lockdown guy. I fought for our freedom. So I'm kind of big on preserving my right to do whatever it is that I want to do. But then again, okay, at some point you do have to agree that lockdown is okay. And that's not a bad number, within 15% of capacity, right? You don't want to exhaust capacity. I've heard rumors, I can't back it up, that here in Texas, that some El Paso is so bad that they're actually sending folks into Austin. So to go to the hospital, I don't know. I'm assuming that's true since it's out there in the news, but you never know anymore, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. You can see the 6 names down here that we're going to take a look at specifically. Some are a buy, some are a hold. None of them are a sell because we could be in a lockdown phase longer. We don't know where this goes, right? Okay, the question of the day is, what is Bitcoin? We're going to talk about some basics. So I'm keeping it real simple for folks today. And then several folks have asked about some more advanced topics, which I'm going to try to get through towards the week. So somewhere this week, I would imagine Bitcoin's going to crack 20,000. So that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be in the news. And I will do basically a whole day on Bitcoin somewhere in there. So if you hate Bitcoin, you can check out that day. But if you wanted to learn more, or at least hear my take as to what this thing is and how it can be in your portfolio, then check it out. All right, our flow for today is long, short, open, short, long. We're going to talk about the market review around the world, where the futures are going. We're going to get into particularly the headlines of today to see what's going to be moving the market. We're going to talk about these 6 investments. We will get into our day trading execution. We will execute that market open, be back out of it generally 5 to 10 minutes after the market open. And then we will go into questions and question of the day. Contingencies, if you have any issues, there's my email. Reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com. and we'll take care of you. Additional academic resources, again, for the new folks, available at ototnow.com. And again, pause on this screen if you're catching this on replay. This is the R unit deal. So when we get to the day trading, you're going to hear me talk about R units. I talk very fast, so your mind may not catch up with it on day 1, but over time, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. It's basically risk 1 R to make 3. Here's some mathematical example of the stops that you would get in. That's all I'm going to talk about. Again, go to my website, ototnow.com, for more information if you want to learn more. And you don't have to trade real money. You can get a paper trading account, trade for fun, where there's nothing at risk other than you're just learning about the market. So that's what I would recommend for everybody out there before you actually get into any real money stuff. Okay, let's go over to let's go over to CNBC.com. We'll check out the headline here for the day and see how everything is doing. So let's go ahead and refresh. All right, we don't need Europe. But first, here's where we are with the market. We were red kind of across the board earlier. Tech's starting to come back a little bit and now in the green. So basically mixed going into the open, kind of trending higher. So we're going to look at our longs first today. Let's go Europe first, since they're still open, slightly mixed, closer to red than not. So about the same as the US markets. Basically Asia, the big markets in the red today. Here's our numbers from Friday. So green across the board was pretty much a nice, day on Friday. Pretty optimistic about all the vaccine stuff that's coming out. Bonds have been holding pretty strong. You see slight red numbers here, but holding close to that 1%. Same with oil, even though it's red, it's at $46, and a lot of positive talk about coordination of supply and things. So doing all the right things there. Gold up a little bit, silver off a little bit, and then of course Bitcoin over here to the right, 19,000 is where it's sitting at right now. So again, keeping an eye on all of that. All right, coming back to our market and taking a look at the headlines. So you're hearing a lot of everybody's getting excited about the vaccine, but we also the worst event this country will face. So it's a big deal and it's real. I have some folks in here that are involved in sports. And yeah, getting out and playing sports, we're trying to get this done and trying to make a normal life. But it seems like the COVID thing, wipes that out, 2 weeks at a time when you end up in quarantine for doing that. So it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. And I was at a dinner last week with the pharmacist and saying, that the secondary effect of the virus could be pretty significant enough to be very concerning, because the folks that are getting it are the high risk folks. So, it's one big deal. If I get it and it puts me out for a couple of days, it's kind of like whatever, right? Because healthy adult bounce back sort of thing. But if you have somebody high risk who gets it, that might, that's a whole different story. So there's a lot more questions coming out about the vaccine. It's not necessarily as cut and dry. But We have this coming out. The other headline of the news, or the headline of the week, will probably be stimulus. I do think stimulus gets passed by Friday. And when it does, I think the market goes higher. So expect a little bit of kind of meandering, if you will, this week until we get the stimulus out and about. And then market goes higher based on that. And then we have to wait and see going into the end of December. Okay, big week for IPOs. Again, we'll probably talk about these during the week, but you have DoorDash IPOing, Airbnb. There's 4 others. They're calling it Unicorn Week for all the IPOs that are going on. And there's a couple of big SPACs, one of which we're going to talk about today, that are direct listing this week. So a lot of money in the move, a lot of new things to get behind. We'll talk about those a little bit later. BlackRock says we're going to powerful restart to the economy. I do think that's true. So when you think about how could this possibly even be? Well, you basically take all the companies in the United States, and everybody was kind of challenged a little bit, right? Even my little company, maybe if you have your own, yes, I'll put those trades in there in a second there for you, Burner. All of the companies that are out there are, cutting costs and cutting personnel and kind of trimming down, becoming more efficient. It's like a big diet. So when you come back out of that, there is a lot of expansion that that can happen. So that's why, BlackRock's positive. I'm positive on 2021. I think it could set up to be a really good year. Okay. A lot of other headline news on the vaccines there. Let's go talk about again, the theme of the day is the lockdowns are starting to happen back. So your work from home sort of stocks. I would say the poster child for work from home stocks has been Zoom. So you can see that it has run up to 575 or wherever. It's back down to 410. Is it a buy? Well, you can buy it here. I'm okay with it. I'm not excited about it, but you certainly can buy it here based on the fact that Zoom is now incorporating with DocuSign to where if you and I are in a Zoom call, which we are, and you all of a sudden, I want to sell you something, or you're selling me something.
The outbreak of the calm virus on Katoa appears worse than experts anticipated. Medical supplies are running short.
In a universe where relationships matter the most.
There we go. You get to a point where you can actually do a contract online while you're in a Zoom meeting, which is kind of huge, versus the hey, hang up and then I'll send you some stuff and then it doesn't happen. So pretty big deal for Zoom. It's dropped down significantly from its highs. It's still in an uptrend. It's still a good theme out there, and they're doing great things. We'll go over to the let me share out to you the Schwab Street Smart Edge platform. We'll take a look at here. So there's Zoom in the upper left. We also have Peloton, which is PTON. Again, the higher end, expensive, subscription based work from home sort of stuff. So Peloton International, I wouldn't necessarily buy it up here. It's pretty expensive. But DocuSign's another one that's out. Even at the spike here, you're only going to see more and more through the electronic contract world. Schwab, which I use obviously all the time, has going more and more workflows are going automatic electronic signatures. Teladoc's another good name to be in, as far as you have the all of the telehealth things that go with seeing your doctor from home. If you had any of those video appointments, that sort of thing, all of that went pretty well. So you're going to see more of that. And again, Teladoc's behind. They're the enabling technology behind all of that. Also, we have Chegg. If you haven't heard of Chegg, I know the students in the room have, and I'm getting some younger folks that are kind of flowing in based off of the U20 investing forum I did. If you haven't heard of Chegg, it's an online learning enabling platform. That's kind of the polite way to say it. It kind of grew out of it started kind of as hey, if you needed a paper done for you, you go log into Chegg and they'll find you a paper, or somebody will do it for you. So it may not necessarily have the most pure start. But now I think if you're a student, you're on Chegg anyway, right? Because it's going to point to you, hey, I want to learn about this, and it'll point you to exact resources that you need. So it's on fire now that not all of the learning, but learning even at the collegiate level has kind of been forced online. Another play out there, Take-Two Interactive. They're a video game that's been going on, having all the Electronic Arts, Take-Two Interactive, They tend to run up. ATVI is another one, Activision. They tend to run up into the Christmas time anyway, but that combined with, hey, we're staying at home, you can't get your hands on the new Xbox, you can't get your hands on the PlayStation 5 unless you want to pay, secondary market prices of over double. So all these things are kind of really taking off. And that's going to help these names. I would not get into a video game maker now. I would wait until the hangover, if you will, next year. Post-Christmas, everything dies down, and then that would be the time to get on that. But I think long-term gaming, whether it's e-gaming where people are actually like competing or just video games, I think there's a long runway ahead. Okay, one thing I skipped is what we'll take a look at now. Let's go over to the ThinkPipes platform. So share that out to you. Take a look at where we've been in the market. So again, this is our 1 year left to right. This is the SPY, which is the S&P 500, which has, again, 500 different stocks that are in it, and including Tesla here soon. I think it's either December 15th or 21st it goes in, but later this month it's going in, and we'll see it. It'll be interesting once Tesla moves into the S&P 500. But when you really look at how's the year been, we had the big sell-off to the bottoms in March, nice snapback recovery, congestion going into the election, and then basically off to new highs. So here's where we are. When the market's at new highs, it tends to continue on to new highs. It's crazy like that until you have that big next negative event. So we'll see how bad these lockdowns get. That could be enough to take us down. But even if you think that the market sells off 1% or 2% here, that's really nothing in the big picture. So don't get excited if you start seeing a move down. And then again, this was last week. So going on into that's Workhorse. That's not the SPY. That doesn't look right. We had more optimism on Friday. This was our Friday. So again, this was through last week. And then, pretty optimism going into Friday. You can see we're trending towards optimism as we go into the market open. Okay, here's our chart set up. We'll come back this minute with BCRX. I have the arrows drawn pre. We're looking BCRX long, BFT long, and CAS short, which is the arrows right there. Okay, let's take a look real quick over at Schwab again, and we'll get into these names. So the first one, switching our thoughts to the day trading BCRX. Okay, this is a pharmaceutical company. They just got, if you see it down here, $325 million influx of money. So that is good. They're going, BioCryst is the name there. I thought I had something else in my notes. But anyhow, a lot of money flowing in. I do like the price point. They're at 610. Going up to 737. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on that. Well, it's too far actually now. It's gone up to 21%. So let's wait on BioCryst just because it's popped up so much. But the next one's going to be BFT, which you see up here is this acquisition company. This is a SPAC. So this will be our number one now is for BFT. If you see off to the left here, they had a big merger deal. And they're going to basically, it's PaySafe is who you're actually backing your money with here. So PaySafe is going to IPO through merging with the BFT SPAC, which is these Foley guys. So that is setting up for them to go long. So plenty of volume in this, and then it's only moved up 8%, unlike the BCRX, which is already up 20%. All right, the last two we'll take a look at is CAS, which is our primary short. A little light on volume, 64,000. Then they have a hearing coming up. They announced about a lawsuit that they have. So any lawsuit headlines are good. So cash short is pretty good here. Closed at 782, down to 718. I like that. And then the last one is just XPEV. That's the XPeng Automotive. They basically they're being greedy. They have a $2 billion $2 billion secondary that's kind of crushing the stock. So they're down about 10% this morning as well. Okay, let's get back over to ThinkPipes. I need to get my own trades set up here this morning. Okay, again, there we go. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the time on target play of the day. We have the opening bell now. And BCRX is what we're looking at. They're up 12%. We saw a 20 spot on another screen here. So we'll keep an eye on them. We're going long. There's the arrow. This is the SPY off to the left. There's optimism going into the open here. So we have BCRX long, and it's jumped up a little bit. So if it sells off, we could flip and take that long. BFT, I like long. We'll go back out so we can capture the arrow there. Being patient for the entry there. And then the last one is cash short, which you have to wait. We've got the volume in to take this short based on a lawsuit. So I think I will be calling cash short with a 10-cent stop is what we're looking at. You could even be more aggressive there. I do like this BCRX long, but I don't like the fact that it's out of our 10% window. So let's look at this. BFT is not moving. Let's go with the short. All right, high of the day is 720, so we could take it all the way. Just need to be above 721. So not quite seeing enough movement out of it. Let's do it at 715 with a 6-cent stop. That'll take us up to 721. So you can take a ton of shares because of this the stop. So 6-cent stop. There, whoa. Okay, don't take it at 711. Don't take it as it messes up the math. So wait for it to come back up to 715. And if it doesn't, we have to say we missed it. That moved down pretty hard. If you cheated on me and took it early, you're going to be happy with that kind of move. But it needs to come back up to 715 for us to be able to grab it here. Otherwise, it may be gone for us. Again, just drawing that in there. Okay, let's look at the others. Tempted to take that long. It's moving up too high though. All right, we would need a 15-cent stop if we take BFT long. Still wanting to get an entry on this this CAAS. Let's get rid of BCRX and look at the XPEV entry, see if we can get an entry there. Okay, here's our entry back. So damn it. If you caught that, it was a perfect entry there at 715. Oh, that was perfect. I looked away at the wrong time. We are unlikely to get that again. So hopefully if you're staring at this, you got it. If not, I did not get it. I looked away. So if you got it, there it is, 715. So take it at 715. Again, going down. This is a 6-cent stop. Might even got it better there. So 721 is the upper limit. So get that in. So if it goes over the high of the day, we have to stop out. And then we have 709 that's our first R point. And then we'll just watch it drop. So didn't get very much of it. Trading with my left hand, so only got about a fourth of what I wanted. But it's a good trade again. 9% down so far. Cash short. You got a second chance at the entry. You don't normally get that. So plenty of volume. I expect this will be one of these trades we'll probably have to be in for a while to get down to the 3R point, but it's going to slowly leak throughout the day. So into the trade there. Okay, let's take a look about what's going on. XPEV was gapping down. That certainly would not work. This again is that $2 billion secondary. The BFT is the SPAC deal. So it's only about a 30-cent move there. So it really hasn't done a huge move up. So what I would expect to see out of the CAS here is, again, there's a buyer right here at 708. So it's going to bounce off that 708 level. But once it goes through the 708 level, I would expect to see another probably full R strike down. So get your tickers ready to be able to exit out of the trade in case it goes right down to it. to make sure you exit out. You could, if you got, I did not get a full order. I only got a fourth of what I wanted. If you got a full order here, this is one of these where you can take off like 2/3 or 3/4 of the order once it hits the 3 hour point and hold the rest for the rest of the day. With lawsuit pending, it's just going to, I think it's going to sell off throughout the day. Okay. BFT jumping up nice there. Finally got the move into it. Let's take a look at some other names that are out there. These are all long. So NGA was gapping up. Looks like that worked, opened up. It's moved about 80 cents from the move up there. BFT really working nice there. All right, let's take a look at GSX Technology. Gapping up. It also did pretty well. It's up at 18% now. So a lot of optimism in the market today. And then let's see, SBE was gapping up today, 6%. So it's about even where it opened up. Let's look at the downside. So XPEV, people are buying into that. It was, gosh, that's a $3 move higher off its pre-market low. There's the stripe I was talking about. So when you have a buyer sitting here at 708 and then all of a sudden that buyer runs out, then that's when it jumps down to the next level. So 709, 703 is our 2 hour point. And again, your exit point you should have set up would be 697. So I'd put in 7 to correct that. So 697. So get ready to exit this trade on the next move down. Again, plenty of volume here. That's not the 10% point. So I do think we get the 697. So no need to exit it early. Just be patient for it. Okay. Keep that up on another screen. I do want to leave and take a look at, because I'm not worried about that trade at all. See what's going on. So psychedelics up 41% and some others up 10%. Laser is again the, oh, what's her name? That's the light detection and ranging, folks. It's in the brains inside of the self-driving cars. Just want to see the name here real quick. Luminar Technologies. So yeah, nice gap up there. Just checking to see if we're out of our trade yet. We're not. Okay. I've got it up on another screen here as well. So nice move up there in Luminar. Can't really buy it here. Just wait for it to chill. Ason, again, had the direct listing the same day as Palantir, up nicely. Palantir up almost 5%. Boeing up 5%. Hillion's that's the old Shell, new ticker for it. BioNTech, so if you're in the drug stocks, up nicely there. Pershing Square Tontine Holdings, another, that's Bill Ackman's SPAC. So I think the IPOs and the SPACs and all of the kind of latest trades are going to be on fire this week. Okay, Northwest Bio selling off, DXC a little bit, LCA, again, they're on a delay. They should be Golden Nugget Online Gaming now. So a little bit of a delay there. Do not know what's going on behind the scenes, but some other names in the red. But overall, looks like the markets are about flat, but a lot of names are up big here. All right, let's get back to, yep, there it is. So we're out at the 697 is the 3 hour point. So get that drawn in there. So 697 is our exit. Again, I didn't get the full amount. I only got a fraction of what I wanted. But you can see that if you got out of all this, it's a nice 3 hour trade. If you kept a little bit, it actually went down to what, 4R here. And then can't do math. 6 all the way down to would be the 5 hour point. So just barely touched that. So, and it's continuing to sell off. This is the power of finding a short where you can get a lawsuit type situation. So I'm going to get the full picture drawn in here. So there you go. So to recap, we entered at 715. Again, this moved fast. It did us a favor when it moved back up to where we got a secondary entry at 715. and then it immediately started striping down. We, made one R, basically some congestion. There was a buyer at 708. Once that buyer at 708 was exhausted, it's pretty much a straight stripe down from there. So overall, real nice trade to start a Monday. Nice 3R trade that if you had hung it out there a little bit, went down all the way to the 5R point. Okay, that's all I've got for that. Let's go over and talk some Bitcoin stuff. Okay, so Bitcoin, kind of where this came, the guy's name's in here. That gets credit for this. And again, this is an anonymous guy. Satoshi Nakamoto, if you've heard that name, is associated with the person or group of people who released the original Bitcoin paper back in 2008 and the software, blockchain of 2009, basically behind all of this. So it says that really people don't think it's an actual individual, it's a group of people, but whatever. So this Bitcoin is out there. So it's a digital currency. It is not tied to a government, which again is one of the biggest risks that's out there. It is only one of many. There are several other coins, and there's been offshoots of Bitcoin. There are altcoins, there's Ethereum. Ripple was on fire for a while. So if you saw in China, they're actually having their own digital yuan currency, which is backed by the government, which I think could be a thing. Facebook has tried. They tried last year to stand up their own, basically, digital currency. They've renamed it and they're going to re-release it, I think, in early 2021. So a lot going on in the Bitcoin space or the digital currency space. Now, it's decentralized ledger system known as blockchain. I say this is kind of like Google Docs on steroids, or Google Sheets more accurately on steroids, because it's it tracks all the transactions. People say it's anonymous, but everything is like specifically tracked, so it's all there. So it's kind of like above, all the transactions are perfectly transparent. You just don't know who's necessarily behind them. So again, kind of started as why would you do this unless you're into nefarious activity, right? So why not just deal in dollars like everybody else does? And then there's people saying, well, governments fail over time, which is kind of true. I mean, long time, centuries. But yeah, governments do tend to fail and have to reinvent, and currencies do go away and have to come back. Most of us don't see that in a life cycle unless you saw a small piece of that. But a big war kicks off. Look at World War II and what happened in Germany with their currency. So there's a lot of push to get away from that. So who's actually using this? It's not really for transacting. It's not you buy something with it. It's a digital store of value is the best way that I can talk about it. So if you want to, I'll get into later in the week on how to actually do it. But you consider it like gold. And I say up to 10% of your portfolio value can be in gold. If you're worried about inflation, which I am not yet, I think we're going to have to answer the mail on that someday, but that today is not today, and the conditions really aren't set for it either. But if you are convinced it is, then you need to either buy some gold or buy real estate. Obviously, that's a hedge against inflation, and then Bitcoin is another way to do it. If you want to go in and start reading about how it's mined and all of that, it's kind of confusing. But yes, it's mined, and there's only a set number of Bitcoins that are ever going to be produced. However, the mining is kind of cut in half all the time. So therefore, it's never actually going to be fully mined. So, I don't know. The Winklevoss twins were on TV the other day talking about how it's going to go to 500,000. I don't know that that's true. But yeah, I do think that when it, that 20,000 level, I do think it probably cracks that sometime either this year or early next year. And then once it does, then it's going to be on fire again and probably run up to like 30,000. So if you're a trader and want to kind of get that trade, kind of like our trade today, I said 708, there's a buyer. Once you exhaust it, it drops. Same thing to the upside with Bitcoin. I think once it cracks 2020, to 20,000, you're going to see it rage higher from there. Okay. That's all I've got for you today. So thanks so much for listening in. Nice strong trade for the week to get things started. Again, didn't get the full amount I wanted. just because I don't think it has the volume out there for it. But good, strong trade to start the week. And with that, we will see you guys back tomorrow. Have a good one.